food and drink that we gave you there. So let's see you last house. Hello everyone! No, I don't like this energy. Hello everyone! That's more like it is the corner. I don't know about this side. I think at the brands here or the creator. If it's creator, I don't want to. I'm looking for the brands. They're over there. Oh well, very quickly, I'll be introducing the panelists for this session, but I would like to appreciate, Google and YouTube for the platform. Thank you very much for all that you do for creators. I think they deserve a round of applause. Please let's put our hands together. I mean, I don't think many platforms do this for their creators on the platform, so we want you to know that we appreciate every single time that we gather together to, network and learn. Thank you. Very quickly, I'll be introducing the panelists for this session. Please put your hands together as I welcome Chinyere Abang, who is a fellow creator with interesting content. Please, you can do better, you can do better, you can do better. Please put your hands together. Where's your camera? Oh, they are looking for you. Okay. Please put your hands together as I welcome Ayotunde Ayo-Ibine, Campaign Manager, First Bank of Nigeria. We're not clapping well, oh. Thank you. And I also have Sinmisola Nojimu-Yusuf, Product Marketing Manager, Google. Please put your hands together for Sinmisola. Welcome. Thank you, DJ. Hi, Chinyere. How you doing? Fine. They are blogging for us, Abby. Yes. For the channel. Yes. Awesome. Now, speaking of brand partnerships, very quickly, we're going to, just dive right into it. Speaking of brand partnerships that you've had so far, what are some of the ones that you remember that actually stood out for you? And how did it begin? How did brands start reaching out? Because someone actually asked me this question when I walked in. She said, I was really hoping you'd be here today because I wanted to ask you, how do I get to the point where, brands reach out? And she said her channel is actually doing well. She has over 50K subscribers on the channel, but somehow, brands are not reaching out to partner. And I said, for me, brands reach out. So I really cannot advise in that segment, but if they are not reaching out, why not get all their emails and start sending them your details? I mean, if Mohammed will not go to the mountain will go to Mohammed, isn't it? I said, have you tried sending them emails? At least we have a lot of brands represented here today. Get their email addresses. In short, you know how we know how to stalk people on Instagram. I don't like their picture, but we know them and we see them. When you look at that bio and you see product marketing manager, click on that email button, send the email, send your channel link. But speaking of you, Chinyere, how did it begin for you? Brands reaching out and you beginning to partner with brands.
I don't remember the exact moment because I think when brands started reaching out, are we talking about Nigerian brands or
all brand are brand now?
I think for me, I started working with foreign brands before I really got into Nigerian brands. But Nigerian brands for me was really, I worked with a brand, which I'll still talk about because I'm sure you're going to ask me that question. I worked with a brand and they liked the engagements, they were surprised, and then somehow the PR company, I think the person from PR company put in a good word for me, and somehow I started getting contacted by other brands. That was how it was for me with Nigerian brands.
I think that also goes a long way to talk about relationship with brands. For me, one of the things that helped me in the beginning was, by the way, I'm also a panelist on this session. One of the things that helped me was actually good relationship with, brand managers and brand reps. It was something where, we'd work on a campaign and somehow we just vibe and then they refer you for the next campaign. Yes, it's okay to actually have management, but you should also have a good relationship with these brands because these are people that will put in the word for you when you're actually, when they're having those meetings where they are calling names. These are people that would actually call your name. But I'm talking about foreign brands though. How did you get to work with them?
No, they just reached out.
I can actually relate. And for me, this is one of the reasons why I love YouTube. Because YouTube is that platform that has actually exposed me to foreign brands. Every foreign brand that I have worked with so far, it's been because of my YouTube channel. Oh, we saw your channel and we saw your content, like even baby related products and all of that. it has actually been via YouTube. So I realized that these foreign brands are actually on YouTube, and regardless of the fact that you are black, regardless of the fact that you are in Nigeria, because most of them that even reach out, I realized that they don't even really have Africans as their customers. They don't have Africans in their consumer database, but they are seeing our channel and they are reaching out at the end of the day. So even if it's not really happening now, this is also encouraging you as creators that it actually happens and it will still happen. Just keep pushing it. Now let's talk to our brands. Why did we go for them there? We should have been good now. It's okay. Speaking of, creating content and working with content creators, what are some of the things that you look out for? I'll start with you. When you reach out, I've actually worked with Ayo, by the way. This was when I was pregnant. What are some of the things that you look out for? Because I know you are very detailed. You don't work with any of them. There's some people that recommend. I don't want that person. But what exactly is it that you look out for when you're working with creators?
All right. Tomike is actually a stubborn person. Let me just put it that way. Okay. I think this question, though, the first panel session, the person has really hit the nail on the head on what, but I'll just add a few things to it. And for me, one of the first things I look out for is the niche the influencer is playing in. And what do I mean by niche? I've had a lot of people say that everybody on Instagram, everybody on the social media is following everybody. Do you understand? So why can't you just use anybody to advertise? But I keep saying that the reason they are following different influencers are quite different. And even if I engage influencer A, and influencer A is a tech influencer, and most of the references I will give will be from the financial or fintech industry because that's where I play at. Do you understand? So maybe I have a podcast, or I have a fintech event, or I have a fintech product to talk about. I kind of need a subject matter expert to break it down for me. Do you understand? And if I want to advertise the skits, it's probably going to be for an awareness. Do you understand? And I want to, at product launch, I want the product to be known. For usage, I will probably use a subject matter expert. So the different niches at which the influencers plays in, do you understand, is good. Another thing I'm looking for are influencers with communities, and this is very important for me because right now, I think we've had this conversation before, and the pain point right now for brand is conversion, and it's really hard to convert, especially with influencer content creators. Do you understand? So how do I say that this creator's video gave me this? Do you understand? And what creators at the moment really need to realize is that they need to get from a point of creating videos only to talking and creating communities from their influencers to one big family, because that's where conversion comes from. So what do I mean by that? As an influencer, do you have the influence that if you say you want your followers to do this, would they actually do this? Because that's what matters to me. It's kind of hard to sell awareness to big brands. I'll talk about my brand. I'm about 130 years old. What awareness do you want to sell for me anymore? So it's basically, I'm looking for influencers that if they say, you know what, I need you to pick up a product, do you understand? And their followers will pick up a product. And as brand people, what I've realized and what some of the strategies I use to create that conversion, apart from looking for influencers with communities, I do more of long-term deals, retainers and stuff like that, and that just helps with conversion. Why? Because maybe the first video might not get as much conversions because Nigerians are just wired to think that, oh, this person is just being paid to do this. Do you understand? But the way you engage influencers, why don't engage influencers from a bulk buy perspective? Do you want to say, you know what, this influencer, do you understand, or this content creator, do you understand, I want to put you on the retainer for about 6 months period or 8 months period, just create. Do you understand? And at that point, maybe you have a KPI of 8 videos for that person. You don't wait till you have a product launch to tell the person to do this. Do you understand? You start from when you build brand stories and stuff like that. So when the time for your product launch comes, it's an easier sell. And people already know the influencer with your brand. So stuff like that are actually what I look for, and more from, of course, vanity metrics like conversions and followerships and all that. They're all great. Yeah.
Now you've actually spoken about conversion from a brand perspective, but from a creator perspective, I was having this conversation with Okwe earlier, where people come to say, so if you make this video post now, can we guarantee that 1,000 people will sign up? And I'm like, hello, am I a magician? When you put advert on billboard, do you guarantee that so and so people bought Maltina because you put it on a billboard? No. So how is it up to me to? I can ensure that I will do my part, I will play my part, create good content for people to engage with. But if they get to your page and they don't want to patronize you, that's not on me. I will collect my money and I will go. It's not on me. I feel like creators actually go through this a lot, and I don't know if you can actually relate where brands, tend to put pressure on you. Oh, 5,000 people must subscribe to this as soon as you make this video post. And truly, I run from it because I don't like stress for I don't like stress for myself. So if you're already putting that pressure before I even take your job, well, you should take your job and be going. But what are some of the experiences that you've had, when it comes to, these conversion issues? I know that they are spending money, and yes, they want to, get returns for their money, but do they even understand the fact that you have people that are watching this video, the fact that people saw this brand, it's also conversion in its own way?
I think when a brand contacts me, first of all, you've gone through my page, you've seen what the views are like, you've seen what the engagement is like. So you can't come and then maybe seeing a video with an average view of like 10,000, because I've had a brand approach me and say, the Instagram video you're posting, we would like it to have like 50,000 views. And I'm like, how do I guarantee that? I'm not going to run an ad on the video. So if you're coming to my page, you kind of know what to expect. You've seen my numbers. So when you start putting forward, a certain kind of return I'm supposed to give you, I'm like, first of all, what kind of magic am I supposed to perform? When I work with that brand, most times when I get, okay, it hasn't happened a lot of times, a few times it has happened, I'll just tell them I cannot guarantee this, and I just let you know straight on so that you don't expect something from me and then I'm not able to give it to you. So.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Simi, let's talk about YouTube as a platform. What do you think makes YouTube a platform that stimulates brand engagement?
Yeah, that's a good question. First things first, I would say, so I'm going to speak from a brand manager's hat and from a Google hat, because up until February this year, I used to work as a brand manager at Maggie. So the truth is, from a brand management perspective, YouTube is one platform that has very high engagement. So for someone to come out, and it's not like somebody saw you on their feed and they were scrolling. They actually go to Kiki's channel to see what Kiki is up to. So there's a lot of engagement and follow through end to end. And so YouTube works very well for us because you're sure that, one, people, their staying power there, and two, there's a lot more range for you to really infuse the brand in what you're doing. So let me put it this way, it's one thing for you to, if I wanted to do an ad where I wanted you to see me crushing Maggie cubes into a pot, I can do it. I can use actors. But the reason why I'm coming to an influencer is because I know that you already have content that people like to watch, and I want to slide in my brand in there in the most natural and believable way as possible. And YouTube is a platform that really gives that room, really, in terms of range and in terms of just what consumers expect to see when they get on there.
I absolutely agree with that. For example, most of the ads that we place on our channel, I mean, these ads come in between lifestyle vlogs, these ads come in between, you cooking and all of that, just putting it in their faces there, but still not coming to say, they gave me money to tell you that this product, you should buy it. And I feel like that way it's more relatable because it's authentic that way, and people feel like, oh, it's kind of like a part of your life, it is organic, and so therefore it converts to some extent.
Exactly.
Yes. I would be looking at me when I said that conversion because I'm just playing some conversations that we've had. I recommended an influencer for Ayo, and what Ayo said to me was, is it clothes I want to sell? How am I sure that they will open so and so if I use this person? Is there a risk now? Is there a risk now?
Why are you casting me?
I'm not casting because now you're now all commercial uncle, talk the truth in what exactly do you look out for when you are reaching out to these people? And for creators as well, I would like you to, just advise, because you as a brand coming to say, oh, these are some of the things that we look out for. This is certain content that we're looking out for. And a creator that has picked a particular niche and they're like, oh, this is what I enjoy doing. As much as it is what you enjoy doing, we also want to make money from what we enjoy doing. So how do we find that balance with doing what we love doing, but ensuring that as we are doing those things, brands are spotting it and they're, reaching out to us? How do you think we can find that balance? Yes, you want to create lifestyle vlogs, but then creators, brands are looking out for something else. How do you infuse it, or should you just stay on your lane even if money is coming or money is not coming? What do you advise?
I would say that niching is actually very important. And I actually, what will I say now? How will I put this? I actually would advise most content creators and influencers now that they should actually expand and look out for more inner niches in the niche. So let me take, for example, there are a lot of fintech and tech influencers. I've worked with a couple of them. Fisayo is brilliant. We've worked together. Tomike, I've worked with Kiki. You understand? But there are some spaces that are coming out of that fintech space that nobody's playing in yet. Since COVID began, the travel blogging space has had a 23% increase from travel influencers. Do you understand? And people are just, and I'll just put that down as COVID locked everybody out and everybody just wants to travel and see the world before another pandemic. You understand? There are a lot of fintech brands and commercial brands are also playing into fintech space. We see a lot of commercial brands even having this thing, but who is speaking about the easiness of using cards or transfers and stuff like that while you travel? Do you understand? That is another niche in its own in the fintech space. Take for example, Beverly just was on Sunday on my birthday, because I can remember clearly because my HOD was calling me on my own birthday, because Beverly made a tweet about First Bank's contactless cards working anywhere, all the places she had traveled. But we're thinking of ways to take that tweet to the next level. But from an influencer perspective, you should have done that already. In what sense? You knew that First Bank, you've traveled once, twice, thrice. Do you understand? Before you made that tweet, you probably traveled about 5 times. None of that travel, you've not created any content yet to show how it had worked for you. And then, if you are creating that content and you already have that content ready, and tweeting that and sending it to me, the next morning, trust me, I'm getting a budget to engage you. But if you are tweeting and I have to start thinking of how to engage you after you tweeted, that's a lot more work. You understand? So I think influencers need to look at how to be authentic in their content and create communities out of it. Do you understand? In between your niche, what's the space you're actually looking for to identify yourself with, to stand out? And brands will come. If brands don't come, go to them. Like I said, if she had created that video and sent to me, it'd be good. Send your decks and everything, and also look at your pricing as well. It's very important. It's good to build, but sometimes the billing might not make sense. Do you understand? So imagine I tell you to pay 3.5 million for one video. If I put down 3.5 million on an app download campaign on Google, I know how many things are. So we have to just be
reasonable with our prices. Why are you cutting corners? If you want to talk to me directly. But speaking of authenticity and balancing it with sponsored content, you mentioned authenticity earlier, and I'll direct this question to Simi actually. You know how the content, if it's authentic, it definitely goes farther, and then it sticks better to their minds. But then you send those briefs like, I want this thing from the beginning of the video. And you see that ending part. No, the logo should come at the end. I remember, as I mentioned the logo, and I remember the video that I did, and they asked me to send to them before I posted. And ashamed, the sending to them meant that they wanted to put their logo on the video from beginning to the end. I said, come here. I said, no, I don't work like that. You cannot put your logo from the beginning to the end. I am already selling your product in this 1 minute video. Even a deaf person and a blind person can see that this video is about you. You don't have to now put the logo from the top as if it's NTA advertisement. I want to put it from beginning to the end. I feel like at times creators, we need to speak out for ourselves. And as if you're a beginner, there are levels to which you can speak out for yourself so that you don't chase brands. But you just have to be able to find that balance. But from a brand perspective now, how do you advise that creators balance authenticity with sponsored content? Because we are trying to make it as generic as possible, but then you are telling us that you can't see the brand. I should have used my left hand or my right hand. They should have been. How do you think we strike that balance?
Okay, that's a very good question. First things first, I think that as creators, you have to be at home with the value that you create. So the reason why a brand is even approaching you or considering using you in the first place is because there are a few things that are established. You're good at what you do. And we believe that you can help us, you can add some value. So first of all, you have to be at home with that. Now, the truth is, engaging an influencer is media, right? And there are different types of media. If I wanted to advertise on a billboard or buy some TV spots, I can do that very easily. But I'm coming to you because I know that there's an extra edge that you bring. And so you need to be very aware of that and very at home. And I find that the influencers that I have worked with all over my career that add the most value are influencers that get involved. Don't stop at a brief. If someone sends you as a brief, ask for a call. You know, a lot of times as brand managers, you can't interact with every single influencers, but I have had influencers that ask, can I speak to the brand team to find out exactly what they have in mind? So don't be afraid to ask those hard conversations. If someone says to you, if a brief says, I want you to do X, Y, Z, you can say, hey, you know what, I know my audience, and these are the videos that work well for me. Engage with numbers and stats and say, you know what, let's try it my way. Let's try this and see how it will happen. And the truth is, a lot of the influencers and creators that I've worked with, that we've entered into a long-term relationship with, that we keep going back. I mean, Kitchen Muse is here, Buki. Buki has worked with us so much that we work with her behind the scenes, and she does content for us that nobody even knows that Kitchen Muse is on, because it's now beyond just Kitchen Muse as a brand, but Kitchen Muse as a creator. You know, and then what helps is we co-create. Hey, this is what I want to do. What do you think? And she says, oh, you know what? Let's do it this way, or let's try it this way. So those are things that helps in managing authenticity. So it's a co-creation process, right? We will still start. The beginning of the conversation is to tell you, hey, this is what I want, and this is my wish list. But we're aligned on one thing. We both know what we want to get out, which is maximum awareness or maximum engagement and conversions. And you can test and prove. And if you engage with facts, another thing you can say is that, you know what, I'm going to give you two. Let's try this. Or the one you're posting on your page, you can put the logo up front and do all the things that you want to do. The one on my page, let's do this, and I can guarantee baseline that this is what you will get from, even if it's from a percentage conversion rate or engagement rate. And those things really help, because there's one thing that I think that everyone should know, is that brand managers they're very passionate about their brands, right? They're looking for results. Everybody's looking for results. So as long as you engage with facts, right, and you can back up what you're saying with facts, and you're ready to go in bed and just try, that way you're going to make sure that you're getting the maximum value and you're staying true to yourself at the same time.
Thank you. I am.
Sorry, just to add to that, as you're also engaging, also when you're engaging the brand, ask for the brand CI. Don't be lazy. Do you understand? Ask for the brand CI. There are soft elements you can actually infuse without actually blowing your video out of proportion. Do you understand? Don't just collect the money, do a video as you want and go to the brand social media page, ask for the CI. I don't understand. I don't need to stamp a First Bank logo. They have some elements of First Bank brand that if they see it can be livery or something like that. Do you know? So just ask for the CI. Do that extra homework, because at the end of the day, that's what I'm paying you. So if I've paid you to do that and you get my CI, you see some of the elements that you don't mind adding. Do you understand? We will be having back and forth. So just do that extra homework. It's more million you're collecting. Walk.
Ayo, take it easy. Chinyere, from a creator perspective, how do you balance authenticity and sponsored content?
I think first of all would say I like to work with brands that I can find some sort of enjoyment in. And I'm not going to say that there has never been a time in my creator past where I have worked with brands and I've just thrown the ads out there without really enjoying the product or enjoying the service. But as I go along, I like to find some piece of enjoyment or just something that I like about that brand. Another thing I would say is with balancing brand authenticity and sponsored posts, I think it's also a foundational issue. So it's also about how you have presented yourself to your audience from the onset. I think if you are a content creator and there's a lot of authenticity in your brand as a whole, then it's not very difficult for people to relate or for people to want to buy that thing or want to, use that service. Yeah, I think really that's it. Just authenticity generally as a whole. The kind of content that I do, it's lifestyle, so it's mothering, it's parenting, it's marriage, all of that. So there's a lot of personal details that people would get. And so I think that most times when I have to work with a brand and it aligns with, my own brand, it's easy to push forward to people because they're like, okay, if she shared this, then this is fine, then we should be able to buy this or we should be able to do this. So, yeah.
Thank you. And talking about brand partnerships that, you really enjoyed, some unforgettable experiences or unforgettable partnerships that you had. I'll start with the brands. What are some of the partnerships that, we don't get to ask people these questions often, and it's not every time you send feedback. So now that we have you here, what are some of the partnerships that, have stood out for you over the years and why exactly? So creators can, learn from this and maybe impute one or two things into their content. Simi.
Okay. All right. So I would say two things. So the first one would be the brand partnerships that I've enjoyed are long-term partnerships. So for the brand that I work with, that I used to work with when I used to be at Maggie, not every brand goes through the brand ambassador model. That's the truth. Right? For some people like us who used to sell 3 for 20 naira Maggi, we cannot afford to do one brand ambassador because it's a very diverse market, right? So we prefer to work with different people across different verticals because it's food and food is culture. So it's very lifestyle leaning. I mean, we've done Valentine's Day with Aka and Claire back in 2019. So there's a lot of range. So whilst we can lock into a full year's deal, we like to work with people who we have a relationship with. I will not tell you when I meet you the first time that, hey, I want to be able to do 5 things with you throughout the year and this is the amount of budget I'm committing to spending with you. No. But it's about that first step. It's like building a relationship, right? When you're making a friend, it starts from there and it grows progressively. And there's so many people. I remember the first time that we worked with Kiki, it was back in 2020 or 2019. It was a Jollof Wars campaign. And I remember when she came into the room, her energy was just so good. And I said to myself as brand manager then that I'm going to work with Kiki again. And so when it came for us to launch a Southwest cooking show back in 2021, it was quick. It wasn't just about Kiki. It was about Kiki. Kiki is great to work with, and I'm sure that she's not going to give me a headache. Because you don't also want to start fighting on top, nobody has time for that. So energy is very important. And then the way the relationship grows progressively. Another example I would cite is one person that we used to enjoy working with, actually 2. I don't want to mention names, but there's one called, I won't say his name. What is great about working with him is like I said, brand managers are very passionate about their brands, right? So at least, even if don't fake it, but at least try. Choose the brand you want to work with and be interested. Come to me. I don't have a monopoly of ideas. Neither does my agency. So people will come say, hey, Simi, this is where we started. Or, hey, I have this new idea. I'm shooting a music video. I think that Maggie can show here, and this is the scene. What do you think? Keep coming back. Right? Sometimes like, these ideas are too much. Okay, go. Let's go. Things like that. So those partnerships really help because it's like an evolution, right? And the story gets sweeter and deeper. Another example I would give is one model that we used to apply, and I know that not every brand does this, is when we're ideating for the year, we actually have influencers in the room to say, hey, I want to figure out my digital marketing strategy for the year. Can you come and join me in this brainstorm workshop and help me figure out what I should do? And then they come in, and then that way you understand, this is where the brand is coming from, this is where the brand is going to, I know the audience you're trying to appeal to, and this is how I can help you. So my point is this: the best brand partnerships that I've seen work for me are brand partnerships where the creator is invested in the brand. You take the time to choose the brand first and foremost, lean in to see, oh, what's this brand doing, how can I help, and go on that journey together. That's the recipe for me for success. Thank you.
Just to continue from her amazing points, also as you're choosing the brand, I'm also choosing you as well. Do you understand? So I'm very selective with who I work with. Like I can be with an influencer, you can send 100 people to me, I'll probably pick just one. Because it must be brand fit, and like the first speaker said from Visa, there are a lot of things I can't talk about. Do you understand? And there are a lot of things as a first bank, like an SIB. Even other banks might post something. If I post it, I'm in trouble. Do you understand, that kind of thing? And there are a lot of what I say is things that influencers would do that will actually affect me as well. So I'm very selective. But there are some partnerships that I've done that were great, and even with people within this room. So because I don't want to name them, let me just name them.
Name them. Why can't we give them their flowers?
In this room.
Name them.
So I'll start with just 4 examples. There was the first time I actually engaged, I was used for people and engaged Fisayo was 2018.
Please a round of applause for Fisayo. Let's give creators their flowers.
Has grown the first bank brand 2018, 2019, 2021, 2022. He has always been doing retainers with First Bank, and the first time I saw him, he was actually doing mobile phones reviews, and I just said that this guy, you must do fintech. Do you understand? Extend it, and I gave him the WhatsApp banking campaign. He came to the digital lab there, and that time we just launched our First Bank WhatsApp banking. For the period that Fisayo did not just the review, but he hosted and did interviews and everything. For that period, the uptake was great, and when you're MD and everybody, who is that guy that did them to bring him back? You know that you have a good. So he has enjoyed that. So when I'm doing anything, fintech, everything, the stakeholders, because we are working with diverse market, like she said, you have different stakeholders. When you're working with in a big brand, you understand, marketing is just a channel. Different stakeholders are the ones that have the budget. You understand? So stakeholders say, bring Fisayo, put him there. You know you are doing something good. You understand? Another example was when I worked with Aka and Claire.
A round of applause for them, please.
Doing, again, only the niche. I know their niche was the most romantic at that period. But it worked. During Valentine, I think I was last year, they banned during that. They got a lot of Valentine. No, it's not in that context. They got a lot of brand partnerships, and First Bank, one of people that engaged them. And what was the campaign about? It was just, we told them to, I think it was love letters, right? Something about love letter, and Aka was to pen down a letter to Claire, and Claire was pen down a letter, and we told was a website. We wanted to drive traffic to my website, so I was like, you know what, that was the video you guys should put out, telling people to come and write a letter to their loved one, put their emails and everything, and First Bank will deliver that love letter to the loved one. And then some of the testimonies we got, like people were reaching out to their lost friends, their late mothers and everything. It was so emotional and everything. So some of these videos were So some of these partnerships were great. With Kiki,
a round of applause for her, please. Clap now.
With Kiki, unlike you, when the first time I called Kiki, I said I'm going to put you on the retainer. Bam, 5 videos. I was just sure I wanted to work with this person. And one of the project that we worked on, and the one that she really blew everybody's minds out was Ayila. We sponsored the movie called Ayila First Bank. We do that under something called December is a Vibe campaign, where we sponsor arts and culture and everything, and music concerts December and period. And Kiki was the person that not only she was motivated, right? She did a pre-video for the launch of Ayila on this thing. She went ahead as far as getting talking drama, everything was a whole lot. After that, she had a behind-the-scenes interview in our office with all the cast and crew of Ayila, about 8 to 10 episodes. After that, she went on to do the premiere itself, and she was the one that did it. At the time, the HOD said, it's enough. Otito, it's enough. No, thank you. But since then, every time I bring out, because I have, like I said, I really, really enjoy. I prefer my model. I don't really do influencers one video. I kind of like come up from a partnership retainer perspective, and what I do is I just net off from the stakeholder. Do you understand? So I just have it. Then even Tomike, there was the campaign.
Round of applause for me.
Tomike was the problem because the first time I engaged her,
I ran away.
She ran away. Although her excuse was that she was pregnant at the point that she didn't want to.
I don't want to do that. But they come back paro. Because I still did another one when I was pregnant for you.
Exactly. But the one she did when she was pregnant was the virtual card campaign, and it was fantastic. And because of just that campaign, the stakeholder keeps asking when are we going to do an engagement and extension video. I just tell her that.
Unfortunately.
So we get to Jago. So yeah, there are lots of brand partnerships that works, but most especially if you get most of the friends that I work with, I'm really close to them, and it's always easy because again, like you said, I don't want to have a headache while I'm working with an influencer. Influencers that give me a headache, I don't have that strength to follow. Do you understand? So be approachable, be relatable, and even when you are engaging with the brand, because the brand guys, we are human beings too. Do you understand? So it's very easy to talk to us. So once we can, well, of course we enjoy your content, but we need to enjoy you as a person for you to get more deals from brands.
Sure. Thank you very much. A round of applause for our panelists, please. We'll take just 2 questions from the audience. I think we have spent too much time on this podium. I've been enjoying the conversation. 2 questions. Pookie! And my brother in black shirts. Or ladies first.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
So I'm not sure if it's a question or if it's a suggestion, but I'll just say what I'm thinking. I've worked with Simi in the past when she was at Maggie, and it was great. We had a great relationship. Sometimes we work directly, and then sometimes they use agencies. As a creator, I'm not sure I quite understand or maybe I'm refusing to understand what the agency does, because I'm sure they must do something for the brand, is why they use them. But as a creator, as an influencer, I don't understand what the agencies do, and here's why. I feel like they stifle creativity sometimes.
Yes.
They stifle creativity sometimes, in fact a lot of the time. So it's difficult. So the brand, for instance, the first bank would come and say, and I imagine that this is how they have their conversation, right? Like, pardon?
Our mics are not working, please.
First bank doesn't make a decision.
I hardly use agencies as First Bank, so engage influencers. So First Bank will not come through.
That's fantastic, because the agencies sometimes, and I'm sorry to say this, there are really great agencies out there, but a lot of the time there's an issue because they're kind of like the in-between between the brands and the creators, the influencers, and I don't know if things are lost in translation, because then they come and reach out to you and say, oh, so I think I'm speaking for a lot of people here. They're a problem for creators. A lot of the time.
They will lie. Say that, but that's not what they told you.
I've had that situation before, so I don't understand. And as a brand, I would imagine that they bring some sort of value to you. But is there a way that, I mean, maybe engage them to do something else for you, not to reach out to influencers? When they do come with a brief, and let me use myself as an example. An agency will call me and say, okay, first of all, they don't want to tell you the brand for whatever reason.
I don't even understand why.
I don't get that one, because it doesn't matter if I'm going to charge you 20,000, it's 20,000 whether you are this or you're that. So anyway, they come to you and they say, oh, okay, hi, my name is such and such from this agency. I'm working on this campaign and I would like you to influence something for us. Send me your rate card. I personally don't like to send out my rate card because I like to understand what the brand wants. I don't have a generic costing for everybody because I feel like all the brands are different and they want different things. Yes. So a First Bank and an Access Bank, even though they're both in banking, they may want something, you know, slightly different. So how about we talk about what you want? You know, we talk over it. You tell me what you want. I tell you. I give you ideas. I, you know, tell you what I can offer you, and then we can then talk about pricing. Not I want a Reels video. How much is that? You know, I mean, I can give you that price, but how about we talk? That is, then they have script. I don't like to work with scripts, but I would like to understand what you're trying to get out of this engagement. This, you know, what you're trying to engage me for.
Yeah.
So this script of, say, good morning, my name is Buki, and I'm the kitchen muse. How about I don't want to say that, I just want to come and say, hey you guys, what's up? This is, you know, I just want to put it in my own words and, you know, how I'm feeling at the moment. But no, we have this script and you can't, you know, do something else. So what I'm trying to say in essence is, first of all, I don't know if brands can do away with agencies, maybe use them for something else, but not as the in between the brands and the influencers or the creators. Or can you engage influencers directly? Yes. Because they, and then this script, I don't know, and I think for a lot of people apparently, that script is, it's not working.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So before we answer that, I think Simi has something she wants to say.
Okay,
but immediately after, sorry, we do have some agencies in the room.
Yes.
And
they will speak for themselves.
That sweet young man who asked a question there about
not run away
is from an agency, and I have some of them as well here who will be happy to tell us the value that agencies bring to the table. Ex-agency too. So we are. This is getting very robust. People want to go. Okay, Simi, very quickly, and then we'll come to this great young man here.
So, first of all, I want to acknowledge how you feel. So it's valid. And there are some times when there's a bit of a break in transmission, right? I have my ex-agency here, I won't name drop. And the truth of the matter is, first and foremost, I think that as creators, you need to understand that we're all on the same team, right? So the agencies, while sometimes they might get it wrong, because sometimes they represent multiple brands, it's not from a negative place. And remember when I was talking about authenticity and maintaining that, I said that you have creative license. Because the reason why you're being engaged is because we recognize that there's some value you bring. So don't be afraid to engage. Now, there are two things, and now, I've had, when as a creator, you're working on particular relationships from a long-term perspective, it's important to get to know the people behind your brand, right? So there are times when, for instance, okay, you know, if the agency is giving you grief, you can say, see me, and I'm like, okay, sorry, don't worry, this is what I mean, don't worry, I'll manage it, right? But there is value that the agency brings in the sense that there are some clients, there are some creators that I've discovered only because my agency pitched it to me. So whilst sometimes they might get it wrong, there is value that they bring. So it's important to manage that relationship, right? But another thing you can say is, you can ask, oh, can I have a conversation with the brand team? Or can we have a conversation? This is what I think, and this is why I'm saying that I want to do this. All my videos are within this format, and this is what works for my audience. And so this is what I'm proposing. Can you check with your client to see if it will work, right? So I know that it can be frustrating, but remember, it's a business. You're managing the business of your brand. And so you can engage and have those hard conversations. And if need be, based on the level to which you've developed your relationship with the client or the brand itself, you can engage further. However, I would advise that you don't do it at the detriment of the relationship we have with those agencies, because agencies have range. And that is very useful for you if you're trying to expand to new markets and increase your portfolio.
Just to add, another value that agencies bring is to help with check and balances. And what I mean by that is you can only speak for yourself as a content creator, as an influencer, the kind of create videos that you create. Trust me, if you see some videos from other influencers, you'll be afraid, you understand, in terms of this. So for me as a brand, I might not have the leisure of time to go back and forth to PQA what you're doing, you understand. My agency will help me do that. However, you understand, again, brief clarification is important, but if you've worked with the brand once or twice, you should actually aim to engage for a longer period of time with that brand through that agency. But like she said, if you work with big agencies, they might actually have like 7, 8, 9, 10 clients. You need those kind of people on your side rather. I don't usually engage agencies for for long-term influence activation because I treat that as a bulk deal, like if I'm doing this. But for one-off videos, you understand, I want to do a campaign, I want to run quickly, and agencies would come and do that. If you are not getting any headway with an agency, do you understand, just send an email, do you understand, to the clients asking for a group meeting with the agency just to know what the brief is really saying, because you must never fall into bad place with an agency. It's very important, actually.
And even if you do, God will fight for you. Okay, 1 second. Because yes, we have someone from an agency to respond. Yes, okay, just 1 second and then.
Aka, please, just 1 second.
If it's 1 second, take your mic.
Aka, just 1 second.
I'm playing with you. Okay. So what? Some of the things that I just wanted to pick on. This is, it's not like a question or but just, some observations that I think that both creators and brands can take from here. There are things that just always come up when it comes to working with brands and also working with creators. I think that some of the things that are very important is things like timing. For example, when a brand comes and says, I want this video now, I think that sometimes, because one of the things that came up when you were talking was brand, affinity and having, to choose a brand and feeling like a brand. It takes time to build that. And I think that sometimes when you expect so much from a creator, as much as it should be authentic, then you should also understand that a creator needs time to build that emotional attachment. And I think that it falls through when we create content, because also I think one of the things that brands need to understand, that creators, especially YouTubers, not just TikTokers or one of the things that we do well is tell stories, and that is what we bring to the table. Because I was having a little conversation with them and I was saying impressions is easy. People buy it now. People buy clicks. Yes, now if you promote the video, it will get impressions, it will get clicks. So what brands do is they can say, okay, create a video. We are interested in wanting this kind of narrative, the way you tell your story, the way you integrate it into real life. We want that because that's your talent. So we're buying that. And then once you do that, then we can then put a spend on promoting that video on the platform. So it's not about, getting it and we have to see 50,000 views or 100,000 views. And I think that's one of the things that we've done well, when we're working with brands. It's about telling those stories. And, she brought up a point about agencies. And to be honest, at first, I just didn't like agencies because, it was hard. But later on, I had to understand that it will be to my benefit if I work well with agencies. Yes, there are agencies that don't just get in, they are just nice, they are not good, they are not nice. In fact, there were some that I just said, is this agency? I don't want the business. But there are some that I know it may be hard, but that's what real life is. In real life, you have some hard things, you have to work around it. You have to manage people. And I think one of the good things to do is work with relationships, work on relationships with some of these agencies and, build a friendship with them. And I think from there it now becomes symbiotic. It doesn't have to always end in, should I say, a transaction basis. I think with Ayo, one of the things we did after we did the first thing together, we then did another one. He reached out to me, I was like, yo, I want to promote some guys who we put on, a music show. I was like, why not? Let's do it, because we already had a relationship. And it's not just because he's the agency for First Bank. So he's the brand and he's the agency. And I think that doing that with even other agencies, making sure that you can have good relationships with people in those agencies. You can always go back and say, this thing is not working for me. Oh, let me not look at you. This thing is not working for me. What do you think? How is this going? Let's talk about it. And sometimes, not everything is for you, to be honest. There are sometimes you just have to turn your back and say, no, this can't work now, but let's do it later. Let's do something else later. Let's work on something else later. And I think that having an understanding, mutual understanding can work.
Thank you.
So in 2009, I worked in an agency, right? And I was the manager on, the agency I worked on inside, I was a manager on Bank PHP. I'm sure many of us know. We used to, the client had money, they were spending money on ads. I'll give you an example. The client once gave us 80 million naira then to go shoot an ad. They approved the script. The script, before you produce, and those do the production, they also do what they call, they draw out the entire script, scene by scene. Right, and you know how Nigerian banks are. We go to South Africa to shoot the ad, and the guy that we had selected to be the hero, they brought out some guy that had dreadlocks. And I was like, Adeoye, this is a bank. You cannot have a guy with dreadlocks. And the creative director and the producer said, no, they're using creative license. They changed the guy that had a normal haircut and brought in the guy with dreadlocks. And guess what? They shot the ad. We brought the ad all the way to Lagos, and the client rejected it. Somebody had to pay 70